This video is the first in a brand new tutorial series I'm starting up this year. If you'd like to suggest future videos and get quick updates, join my Roblox group in the description. The full playlist for this series can be found below too. Hey everyone, if you end up having questions after watching this video, please read the description first. You'll be able to find updates there if any changes have been made to Roblox Studio that affects this video in the future. The timestamps on the screen can be found in the description and pinned comment as well. If you don't find what you need in this video, I have a playlist in the description that might answer your questions. I'll update the description if this continues to work in future years as well. Keep in mind that some scripts in this new series I did not make, but I'm using for informational purposes. In case I am talking too fast, I have closed captioning on this video that you can enable at the bottom right of your video player for multiple languages. Without further ado, let's get right into it. Roblox Studio should be automatically installed along with the Roblox player when you open up a game. To check if it's on your computer, open up the search bar, which is default bottom left of the screen on Windows, or by pressing the Windows key. For Apple devices, you can open up the spotlight at the top right or by holding down Command and Spacebar. If you type in Roblox Studio and the application does not show up, go to roblox.com/create, which will be in the description along with other important links. When you click Start Creating in the middle of the screen, it will download the studio and launch it. After opening Roblox Studio, you'll be prompted to log in if you haven't already. From here, you can create a new place from some templates, continue editing games that you've already made or ones that people have shared with you, and the Recents tab shows you places that you've recently loaded into. I'm going to hop into this map and begin with the basics. The most important things you should have starting off in the studio are the Explorer, which contains everything inside of your game, Properties, which allows you to change how things look and act, and the Toolbox, where you can find models, audio, and more. I talk more about the Toolbox in the Tips and Tricks section if you want to learn more. The command bar and output at the bottom may also be helpful for experimenting with scripting later on. If these are not showing or if you accidentally close them, you can toggle their visibility under the View tab at the top of the screen, or by right-clicking an empty spot near the top here, and you'll have a list of all the GUIs you can have on your screen. Make sure there is a check mark next to the ones you want visible. From here, we can start by adding teams. Head over to the Explorer and check if you have a Teams folder. If it isn't showing up, make sure you have the Advanced Objects GUI enabled. Mine is at the left side of the screen. Type in Team, drag it into the middle of your screen, and then a Teams folder will be made with a team put inside of it. Once you have a folder, you can insert new teams by following that same method or by clicking on the plus button that shows up when you hover over the folder. I'm going to add 2 teams, and using this method, I'm going to go back up to the workspace, click on the plus button, and add some spawn points. So add spawn location, and keep in mind anything that you want to be seen in-game should be in this workspace. If I was to put this spawn location over here into this spot, it's not going to show up. So I'm going to bring it back. And if you want to quickly duplicate items instead of having to type them in a bunch of times, you can click on it or click on it in the Explorer. Hold Ctrl-C if you are on Windows or Command-C if you are on an Apple device, and this will copy the item. From here, hold Ctrl-V, this will paste it, or Command-V, and now we have 3 spawn points. I'm going to move them out over here, and then I'm going to rename them just so I don't get them mixed up. To rename them, you can click on them in the Explorer, click F2, or you can right-click it and click on the rename button. And now I'm going to rename these 1, 2, and 3. And same with the teams, but I'm going to make them different names, hi, and okay. Next, we'll take a look at the Properties GUI, which is extremely important for quickly making sure that these spawns work properly with a team. Start by clicking on your desired spawn point in the game space or in the Explorer, and now you should see different things appear in the Properties section. I'll explain how most of these work in another episode, but for now, scroll down until you see this section for teams. There are 3 properties for spawns under this teams section. The first one allows you to decide whether people can step on the spawn point in-game to change their team. We'll keep this on with 2 of the spawn points just for testing. The second one determines if the spawn point is for people without a team, and we'll just disable those on all of the spawns right now until I talk about it later in the video. And the third one is what we're most interested in, which allows you to connect a spawn point to a team. Click it and change it to any color that you'd like. This can be completely different from the physical color, what the spawn point looks like in game. And to show this, I'm going to make this one regular white. And then I'm going to scroll up to the appearance and change the brick color to something completely different. I'll make this one lapis. I'll make the middle one lime green. And the third one, I will make it black. Now I'm going to change the middle one over in the team color section. I'm going to change this one to new yellow. And now I'm going to make sure that team high is white, which is associated with this spawn point, and team OK is new yellow, which is associated with the middle spawn point. The third one, we're going to make sure that it doesn't have either of these on and it doesn't have a team, just to show you what it'd look like. Now that we have set up 2 of the spawns, you can test the game by clicking the home tab at the top left of the screen and then going over to the middle and clicking play. As you can see, I got put onto this spawn point, which is for team high. If I go into the workspace and I click on spawn 1, I'll scroll down, the team color is white. Now I'm going to go to the teams folder, click on team high, the team color is also white. If I step on this spawn point, I got put onto team OK. Team OK has the team color of new yellow, and the spawn point has a team color of new yellow as well. And for the third one, nothing happens because again, it doesn't have a team that it's associated with, and I also turned off the allow team change on touch option. If you were put on the wrong team or it didn't work, check the properties GUI for both the spawn point and the team to make sure that the team colors are matching. And keep in mind that edits you make while in this testing mode will not be saved. So if I was to change the team color of spawn number 2 to this color, and then I click stop at the very top, when I go back to check it, it's still new yellow, so be careful when you're testing things. Next, I'll show you what we could do with this third spawn point, along with more customization, including special teams for people that you choose. Before we get into custom teams for specific people, now that these 2 spawn points over here are connected to the right teams, what if you don't want people to automatically be put onto that team? There's several simple ways that this can be done. One method is to disable the auto-assignable when you go over to the teams folder and click on the team. By clicking auto-assignable and having it unchecked, anyone who joins the game will not be able to automatically be put onto this team. This is where a neutral spawn point can come into play. By making spawn point number 3 over here neutral, anybody can spawn on it when they join the game, even if they are put onto another team. This does not always happen, however, so by enabling the allow team change on touch button, a neutral team will be created and people should spawn there every time until they join a team. I am also going to disable auto assignable on here, just so I can show you. As you can see here, I got put onto the third spawn point and it created a new neutral team. This is not in the teams folder and it will disappear once the team is empty again. But if I reset right here, just to show you really quick, I do stay on this spawn point until I join another team. Now that I'm on team OK, the neutral team goes away, and when I reset, I will be placed onto this spawn point. If you keep auto assignable on for 2 or more teams, players will fill the teams from top to bottom based on the leaderboard unless the teams are uneven. The first player to join the game will be placed into the team at the very top of the leaderboard that only has auto assignable enabled for it. As shown earlier, this can be avoided if you have a neutral spawn point or a team picker GUI, which I'll have a separate tutorial about it if you go to the card at the top right of the screen or in the playlist in the description when the video comes out. This in-game leaderboard is also organized by the order you put the teams into the folder, so if you want to change the order of the teams on the leaderboard, let's click stop here at the top, drag these teams in another folder, and then put it back into the teams folder in the order that you want. So if I want OK at the top of the leaderboard, I'm going to drag it back into teams, then drag high in. Even though high is at the top of the folder, because we dragged in OK first, you'll see that OK is at the top of the leaderboard. Maybe I should have chosen different names for the teams. But as you can see, OK is at the very top of the leaderboard here. We're still on the neutral team just because these do not have auto-assignable enabled for them. Now we'll go back and stop. And now that that's out of the way, we can move on to custom teams. To start, let's make a script that allows us to put specific people on teams that we choose, like the owner of a game onto another team. To start off, I'm going to make sure that one of these other teams has auto-assignable enabled, with the owner team having that disabled, just so we're certain that I spawn there because of the script. So let's turn high onto auto-assignable. And I'm going to make a new team, which I will call owner. So just if we join, actually make sure owner has auto-assignable off. So now I got put onto team owner. And now actually I need to go back over here and make sure that neutral is disabled for the spawn point, as well as allow team change on touch, or else it might not work properly. From here, let's click the button next to server script service, the plus button, and let's add in a script into here. You can also get scripts from the advanced objects GUI over here if you prefer it that way. By keeping scripts in the server script service instead of the workspace, it keeps these scripts safer since they have a chance at being deleted if they are grouped with other parts that fall out of the map inside of the workspace. Since this video is pretty long already, I'll grab the model I made of this and explain how it works. I've put the links to the models for every script in this video in the description under the important links section. And now once you have the model, go over to the toolbox over here, click on the second button from the left, and click on the drop down menu right here and make sure it's set to My Models. And in this case we are choosing the custom team script. So now I'm going to delete this from the server script service, going to drag this new one back in, and I'm going to explain how it works. I'll run through the parts that you guys need to change and make sure that it works properly. To start off, line 3 defines this as a function, and line 5 is the first place where you guys will need to change something. The number I have in this section, and I also do have comments here with instructions in case you do forget. This first part right here is my user ID, which you can find on your own profile by going to your web browser, going to your profile, and at the web address bar at the top left, you will see a number towards the end of the link. You want to right click it, copy it, go back into Roblox Studio, and then paste it right here, or for any other player that you choose. Putting an ID here, make sure that if the person changes their username, you still have the right profile put onto the team. On the next line, we're going to change this section that says insert team color here to the team that I'm going to be put on. In this case, since this is my ID and I am the owner, I am going to click on the owner team, and the team color is set to black. I'm going to replace this section here with black and make sure that it is typed in correctly, that the capitalization is all right, or else it won't work properly. And just to make sure we did everything right, I'm going to scroll back to the top, and spawn point 3, which is this one, has the team color set to black, allow team change on touch is off, neutral is off, and in the team section, auto assignable is also off. So now I'm just going to insert other colors here for the other team. So high is set to white. And for the last one, OK is set to new yellow. And to explain the second part here, if you want different people on different teams, this next line starts with else if to show that there are other requirements the function has to look at. So you could copy paste these sections over and over if you'd like. Here I've put a random ID that you can also change to your liking, or you could just take out this section entirely if you don't want another person to have a custom team. The third one is optional, which basically says if a user does not have either of these IDs, then they get put onto a completely different team. Now I'll input my user ID into these different sections just to show you that they work So in this case, here's my user ID right here, and I'm going to be put on team black. And this one, I'll show these two next. So now if I hit play, I got put onto the owner team. And if I go into the teams folder and I click on owner, team color is set to black. If I hit stop, I go back into the script. I'm going to change this ID to 12345. I'm going to copy mine here, paste it here. So now I should be put on the white team, which is team high. Gonna play. And now I got put onto the white team. Now I'm gonna go back. I'm going to change this ID by 1 and change this ID by 1. So now, since my user ID is not this or this number, I should be put onto the third and final team, which has a team color of new yellow, which is team OK. Now we go back to the top, hit play one last time, and now I am on team OK. Now that that works, I'm going to move on to the group script. I'm going to delete the one that we just worked on right now, just so that it doesn't interfere with this next script. And also keep in mind, I was being silly here, that you do need to close the script at the top before you try and delete it from the game. And it's good that it does that, or else there would be some issues. These scripts can work together if configured correctly, but I'm just going to show you how to set them up basically for now, and maybe later on I can show you that they do work together. I'm also going to get this from a model I made earlier, which is also in the description under the important links section. So I'm going to go over here, go to Team Auto Assign, going to drag it from the workspace into Server Script Service again, and I'm going to open it up. And to make sure that this also works, I'm going to go through the things that you need to change and show it with my own group. At the top, there's a section for you to insert your group ID. To find your group ID, go back to your web browser, go to your group, and again in the web address, you can find these numbers here. You want to copy it, go back into Roblox Studio, and paste it right here. And now if we move over to line 6, this is the first thing that you will need to change. Now this one is taking a look at the group rank numbers. To find the group rank numbers, go back to your group page, go to the top right of the group where these 3 dots are, click it, then click on Group Admin, and then you should be prompted with this page over here. You can click on Roles on the side. And now if you go to the right side next to the permissions, you'll see rank 0 through 255, and these are the numbers that you will need to be looking at. So in this case, the owner role is rank 255, admin is 254, and then it could keep going down. Make sure to keep these in mind, and we'll go back into the studio. So for this case, I want to be put in team owner, and the owner ID is 255. So change this team color here to the owner group, and the team color is black. So I will type in here, black. And now, for the next one, we'll just say it's for the admin team. I'm going to change their team color to white. And for the last one, which is OK, it's new yellow. And now, again, just like the other script, these else ifs are there just so that the function knows that it has to look at these other lines when deciding what team people go on if the others don't apply. And this third one is also a little bit different. Instead of just having 2 equal signs, it has this, which means if the player is in a rank that is less than or equal to, so that means if they are in rank 253 or lower, they're going to be put into the team that has the team color new yellow. To show you that this works, I'm going to be using my owner ID for all of these. So to start off, I should be put in the owner team. Since that is there, we go to play, and now I am put onto team owner. Gonna go back, gonna swap this number around, 256. I'm gonna put this one at 255. Now I should be put on team white, which is team high. So now I am on team high. I'm gonna go back, change it one last time. So now I'm gonna change this one to 257. This one to 256. And now I'm going to change it to 255 because it has to be less than or equal to this number. So I should be put onto the final team, New Yeller, which is for team OK. You're going to go back up here, hit play. And now I got put onto team OK, a final team here. And now that we've shown how these work, let's figure out how to spawn with items and allow for each of these teams to have their own loadouts. Now that we have different teams, I'll show you how to spawn with items and how each team can have different loadouts. To start, make sure that you have the toolbox enabled here at the left side. If you didn't watch the earlier parts of the video, you can enable or disable these GUIs through the View tab at the very top of the screen. Now that it's enabled, head over to the toolbox over here and click the leftmost button that looks like a picnic basket. I'll be using ROBLOX gears as an example since they're more reliable than free models, which I talk more about, and how to pick out high quality models at the end of the video. To find items from a specific person, click on the 3 lines next to the search bar right here. Under the search for users bar, type in ROBLOX, click ROBLOX, and then at the bottom right, click apply. And now you can search for items that ROBLOX has made and published. Right now I'm going to get a sword. For now, when you click on these items, click no if it prompts you to put it into the starter pack, so I can show you the difference between having it in the workspace and in the starter pack. I'll be using 3 gears for this, so I'm going to go back over here. I'm going to type in rocket launcher. I'm going to grab this one. And for my third item, I am going to get a slingshot. Now we have our 3 items in the workspace. And also, now that we're here, I'm going to get rid of this script here. And if you're interested in this thing, you could go to that part of the video. I'm silly, I forgot to close it out. And now that we have these 3 items here, I'm going to enable team change on touch for all of these spawn points, just so I could swap between teams really quickly and show you how this works. Now that that's set up, to let everyone in the game have a certain item, drag one of these items over here from the workspace down into the starter pack. So I'm going to grab the rocket launcher, put this into the starter pack, and now I'm going to hit play at the very top of the screen. And as you can see, we have a rocket launcher. If I swap teams over here, and then I reset, I still have the rocket launcher. And if I go over to the final team, still got the rocket launcher. And as you can see, the items that we spawned in earlier and are in the workspace remained on the ground and were not in my inventory. You can pick these up if they are in the workspace, so just keep that in mind. Now that we know how to let everybody have an item, let's move over to team only gear. To achieve this, we have a script that will make this possible. Just like the other scripts, you can find it under the important links section in the description and put it into your game automatically. Once you have it, we'll go back to the toolbox at the left side, click on the second button from the left, and then make sure you're under My Models. And now we're at the Team Only Gear script. We can then put this into Server Script Service just so that it's a little bit safer, and head to our final step. Go back into the Explorer and drag these over into a team. And I'm going to drag this sword over here into this team. So now we have a slingshot in Team Owner and a sword under Team High. And now that we have a gear inside of the Team Owner and Team High, when we're on Team Owner, we will have a slingshot. When we're on Team High, we will have a sword. And we're on Team OK, we won't have a second weapon. So I'm going to keep the rocket launcher in the starter pack for this just to show you guys. So I'm going to go back to the top and click on play. As you can see, I got put on a Team High and I have a rocket launcher from the starter pack and the sword from putting it into Team High under the Teams folder. If I move on over to Team OK and I reset, I'm not going to have anything besides the rocket launcher from the starter pack. If I move on over to the last team, which is Owner, I'm going to reset again, and I have the rocket launcher yet again from the starter pack and the slingshot from putting it under Team Owner right here. Now keep in mind, if you do have custom items that you want to place here, you need to have an item inside of it called a handle, just like these items do. I might go over this in a separate tutorial, just like the team only doors I should be showing in episode 2. Now that we're done with this part, we can hit the stop button and move on to one of the final things to top it all off, with custom clothing. Making players who join your game have custom clothing or character parts has gotten much easier as Roblox Studio has developed. Along with this, options for forcing a certain package on everyone who joins your game has also been implemented. To do this, go to the top bar of Roblox Studio and click on the Home button. Go to the center now and click on Game Settings. From here, the basic info section will open up. You want to click on Avatar at the left side, and here you have a bunch of different options for player characters and clothing. I would suggest moving the screen off to the side a little bit just so you can see what it would look like on your character. The basic changes are found with the presets at the top half, where you can choose whether everyone has the choice of what package they use, or if you want to force them to another certain style. The bottom part is what allows you to change the most, since you can choose anything under these sections that you'd like, even if it's off sale. I'm going to head back to my browser and get some items that aren't in my inventory to show you. To find the ID for these items, go to the page of the item, and if it's a package like Mr. Robot over here, make sure that you go to the bottom and click on the separate body parts instead. So now I'm going to go to the torso. I'm going to go to the web address at the very top and copy this number here. Now I'm going to click on this button for torso and paste the ID number in. And as you can see, I have the Mr. Robot torso. This works for all of the other parts, so I'm going to disable this one. Going to go grab maybe just his right arm. You can see I have his right arm. And now I'm going to go down to this part for the t-shirt and shirt ID. Gonna go get this classic guest shirt. It's too bad. I miss guests, man. Gonna copy this. Gonna go back in here. Since this is a shirt, we're going to put it under this section. And now, I don't know what just happened there, but now I got changed to the Roblox shirt. And for the t-shirt ID, gonna go back up here to this Free Flight Premium. Another great game. Go back to the number up here, copy it, and then paste it under the t-shirt ID. And now I have Free Flight Premium. Was that like food that showed up when I did that? That was weird. But now when I hit save, and then I click play at the very top of my screen, as you can see, I have this goofy looking avatar, but it is forced onto me. I don't own any of these items, as you can see. Doesn't show it there. And I'll go over how to have different clothing for different teams in my next tutorial, which can be found at the card at the top right of the video or in the playlist in the description. Finally, I have some tips and tricks for you guys that might be handy if you're just getting started with Roblox Studio, or if you've been using it for a while like myself. Since this was the first episode of my Roblox Studio tutorial series, the first few tips and tricks might be rather basic but could help avoid having to deal with any annoying things. As I go down this list for the video, there are some pretty useful ones, some of which I didn't realize until I had used the studio for a long time. I'll put a number in one of the corners so you know what tip we're on. If you have a lot of games and you don't want to look through the list for that one game you're searching for, you can actually search for its name at the top right over here. So I'm going to type in Roblox. It's going to narrow it down a little bit. You can also sort it by a few other factors here. So you can see it changes the order there. And it's just quick and handy in case you need to find something really quick. When you start building things, it's probably a good idea to group parts and objects together and even rename them, so you don't get confused when everything in your game is named bush or when everything is named part. If you want to select multiple parts in your game, you can drag over it like this, but since I've already grouped these things together, you can also do it like this inside of the Explorer. If you want to only select certain parts, like if I didn't want these couple ones, you can hold Control and click on it to select it or deselect it. And if you're on an Apple device, you can hold Command and click it to deselect it. If you want to quickly find something that suits what you need instead of building it, especially for something that might just be in the background, here's a simple way to find reliable free models in Roblox Studio. Head back over to the toolbox and click on the Picnic Basket button at the very left. make sure the drop down menu at the left over here says models, and at the very top you'll see certain items. If you hover your icon over the bottom right, this little icon over here, if I could get it right, let's see. As you can see, it is marked as a high quality item by Roblox. This improves the creator's credibility, especially since some of these are longtime developers or Roblox admins who have made these models. What you could do when you find high quality models like this, you can hover over them and then click on the creator who made them, and you can find all of the models that they made. It is very difficult to get models accepted as high quality models through Roblox, so chances are the users that have models like these are very reliable. And this is much safer than starting by searching up an item and clicking on the first models you see, as some may be infested with scripts intended to break your game. While you're building, you might have also gotten frustrated when you tried to move one part, like an arm over here, through another one, and you found out that it just goes straight through it, and it's just annoying, because what if I want it to go in the shoulder, right there, man? Well, this is something that I had forgotten about, and it really annoyed me when making the models for this thumbnail. It wasn't until after that I realized you could disable this by clicking the model button at the very top bar and clicking on this collisions button, and now just nicely you could just do it however you want. It's just nicer that way. If you end up having this black bar where your cursor is while typing in Roblox Studio, which is very annoying and doesn't delete what it looks like it's supposed to delete, like come on, it's on the H, man. It's on the, or if I go back here, guess what? It's not gonna delete the H. Oh wait, no, it did. Whoops. Go to your keyboard and press the insert or print screen button, and this thing will go away. And now the day will be saved. I think this is applicable to Windows keyboards, but I'm not sure. And while we're here, ever think that the text is sometimes too small or too big? Well, if you hold Control and scroll up and down, or on Mac if you hold Command and move up or down on the trackpad or scroll up and down with a USB mouse, you can adjust the size of the text on screen to your liking. And there's one more thing that could make this better though, especially if you're up late and the brightness of the background is too blinding. To turn on Roblox Studio's night mode, go to the top left of the screen and click on File, Settings, click on the Studio tab at the left side, and scroll down until you see General, or you can search at the very top and type in Theme, and you could click this and click on Dark. And now you'll have Roblox Studio in a nice dark mode. Please let me know in the comments if you want to see me use dark mode in these tutorials, if it's better on your eyes. The only reason I wouldn't swap it for my tutorials is in case it makes some of the text hard to read, but I'll let you guys decide.